everybody, I'm Kimberly Turner from cookingwithkimberly.com, and this is my mom, Ingrid.
Hi.
And today we're going to show you how to bake gluten-free tiger nut date squares. Perfect for the holidays. A lot of people make date squares for the holidays or fig squares because it's just the right season to get all this beautiful dried fruit. Anyway, today we're using tiger nuts, actually a tiger nut flour, but if you've never heard of tiger nuts, you have got to brush up on your superfood knowledge. These are tiger nuts, and they look like little tiny wrinkly chickpeas, sort of, or like nasturtium nodes, like I say to gardeners if you are doing a lot of planting. They are not actually nuts at all. They are tubers. They grow in the ground just like potatoes, carrots, beets, turnips, things like that. So anyone that has a nut allergy of any kind, these are nut-free. Perfect for kids, for doing any kind of bake sales and baking that you have to bring to the school, or if you have people around, like a lot of kids, that might have nut allergies. Not only are tiger nuts nut-free, they're gluten-free, they're lactose and dairy-free, they're vegetarian, they're vegan, they're organic, they're non-GMO, they're cholesterol-free, they're great for paleo diets, they're great for celiac diets or people who have diabetes or inflammation, those kind of diets. Right. It's great, the Whole30 diet, if you ever heard of that before. They're high in fiber, they're low in fat, they're really good for weight loss because they have a resistant starch in them, and that's really handy to have. Make sure you brush up on resistant starch because anyone trying to lose weight, that's a really great thing to eat. Also, is chock full of all kinds of vitamins and minerals that I can't even get into here. Also, they're prebiotic and antibacterial. I learned that just recently, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, so what they do is they use these gorgeous tiger nuts and they grind them into a fine flour. TigerNutsUSA.com, check them out online. You can get the whole tiger nuts like this with the peels on. You can get them with the peels off. You can get this amazing flour that is an absolute glorious thing to use for holiday baking, especially if you want to try and, be a little healthier this year.
That's right. We all need to do that.
That's right. Also, they have a great smoothie mix and a beautiful extra virgin tiger nut oil, which is handy to have around too. And let's get going. We've been doing a lot of holiday baking, Mom.
Yes, we have.
Shortbread cookies and fruitcake and all kinds of
baking.
Yes, all kinds of holiday yummies. So to get half of this stuff off of our countertop, we're going to start with the dry ingredients of the filling, and then we're going to set them aside. So I've got 1/4 cup of tiger nut flour, and I've sifted it so it's nice and light and fluffy. And just so that you can see the consistency, it is so light and fluffy. Okay.
And it has a wonderful flavor. Wonderful
flavor. Tiger nuts kind of have the flavor of coconut, to me anyway. They have a slight sweetness from that nice starch that they've got. All right, we've got a pinch of salt going in because everything that's sweet needs just a pinch of salt to kind of, balance things out. We have 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Make sure that that's sifted or you don't have any lumps or clumps. 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon go in, ground cinnamon. All these beautiful fragrant holiday spices that you crave so much.
Warm spices,
yep.
Beautiful.
1/2 teaspoon of ground allspice. Now you could switch this up. You can add nutmeg, you could add ginger if you wanted to. We're not adding them today, but you can if you want. And 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. Nice little kick.
Beautiful.
And we're also adding 1/4 cup of oats to our dry ingredients for the filling. So I'm just going to stir that up to evenly combine everything in here. So evenly combine that, and the more you stir things, the more heavenly it smells in here.
I just got a whiff of that. Yeah. That's beautiful.
All right, this is getting set to the side, right? Mom greased up an 8x8 inch baking pan here for us with butter. You could use spray if you wanted to, or you could grease it with oil if you had to or wanted to. And I have 1 tablespoon of brown sugar packed. I'm just gonna combine the bottom layer in the container because there's no need to dirty another dish for that.
Absolutely.
1/4 cup of oats. You can use rolled oats or quick oats if you want. And I've melted 1.5 tablespoons of butter. Okay, that's going in. I'm just gonna use the back of a fork to kind of combine these things right now evenly. Once that's combined, I'm gonna add another 1/4 cup of oats just to make it easier to mix in. use the back of a fork. It works really easily. You don't need a huge thick bottom layer. Once that's combined with the sugar and the butter, once you have that all combined, go ahead and just kind of spread that out evenly on the bottom of your baking pan. All right, so that's what it looks like. You have just an even, thin layer of your oats at the bottom. Yum. All right, continuing on with the filling. I have 1/3 of a cup of melted butter, and I'm combining that with 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Just want to get this started so the sugar kind of dissolves with the butter. Now, seeing as it's not room temperature butter, it doesn't need to be creamed like you would with cookies or something like that. Just combine it well so that everything's nice and moistened. You want to make sure there's no chunks in the brown sugar, you know? Kind of looks like a beautiful molasses, glossy molasses mixture.
It does.
Now I'm going to combine that with my dry ingredients in the large mixing bowl and stir that to combine, just barely. This looks like a beautiful combination already, so it's kind of like that. It's dry-ish. So now we've got 4.5 tablespoons of milk, and I'm using 1 egg, okay? That's going in, and I'm just going to, you know, briefly whisk that with just with a fork to combine that evenly before I add that to this mixture too. Now let's pour that into the large mixing bowl and stir that to combine. You see it's kind of loosening up a little bit. Happy. And this is going to help you soak your dates because the dates are dried, right? So we've chopped 1 cup of dates with obviously no seed or pit in the middle, and that's going in 1 cup of chopped dates. Mom did that for me. So combine that. That's going to soak in all that goodness. Okay, next we have the juice of 2 limes. Now you could use the juice of half an orange or the juice of a lemon.
Right.
We use 2 limes as well as zesting it. You want to add the zest. Use what you have on hand or what you can find in your store. At the holidays you have all kinds of citrus options.
Absolutely. There's so many different citrus, you know, they're just all delicious.
And lime goes nicely with dates if you've never tried that.
And
So
they just add something wonderful to
sure
your
do.
recipe.
And the juice is going to be good. I'm also going to add the pulp just because why wouldn't you?
I'm all for pulp.
I love me some pulp.
I love pulp in all of my juices. I just feel like people who throw that pulp away are really missing something special.
Sure enough, and a lot of health benefits as well.
Correct, yes.
Make sure you check out our show from last night, our holiday spiced clementine iced tea. Was delicious. It had lots of pulp.
Right.
Now that looks beautiful. So, next step, let's get this into our baking pan, and we're gonna preheat the oven at 350, but we're gonna bake on 325, okay? So we like to always preheat a little bit higher. So pour that on evenly, all over. Don't just put it in one big clump, and you're gonna just kind of even it out as best you can. Ooh, that looks good, Mom.
It smells so good.
It smells amazing, all those holiday flavors. I'm just going to gently spread that out to the corners, all evenly over the top. Now, nice additions to this could be some molasses or maple syrup even, or even honey if you wanted to. Dates and honey go perfectly together.
Well, you know, we're doing a lot of Christmas baking, so we don't want exact same stuff in every single dessert.
That's right. All right, so now the topping. We're gonna repeat what we did on the bottom, except instead of pushing it on there, we're just gonna sprinkle it on top. So that's 1/2 cup of oats in total. We have 1.5 tablespoons of melted butter and 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. And just kind of do the same thing. Mash that all together evenly so that the brown sugar and the butter get all mixed with the oats evenly-ish. Doesn't have to be perfect.
It's almost like a streusel, but you're using oats in there instead.
I like that idea.
I like the idea of crumbling that on the top.
Sure enough.
I'm judging here. I think that part of the bottom setting we will incorporate into the filling.
Of course. And this is a beautiful gluten-free dessert.
Yes.
We've done a lot of gluten-free baking this holiday.
Yes, we have.
Really switched up our act.
Tiger nuts just add something so special to your baking. Not just the fact that it's gluten-free, but the fact that it has a really wonderful flavor that we're just not quite used to.
Right. It's a real epiphany, actually, because you are really baking a lot healthier, and you know, more people are able to eat what you're baking. Some people have real strict dietary restrictions, and you know, a lot of people that don't have those don't think about that.
Yes.
But you can cater to everybody. Oh, this is beautiful.
If your children don't eat nuts because they're allergic to them, I know that you're going to be used to looking for any kind of desserts that don't have nuts.
But if you have other people visiting or they're having friends over, you might need to, you know, consider that. Let me show this to you. It looks beautiful. It's actually kind of set itself, you know. The oats are going to help set that, and the dates are soaking in all that liquid. All right, so now that it's ready to go in the oven, we're going to put it on 325 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes.
Right.
Or until the center isn't jiggly, like the filling is somewhat set. Okay? In it goes. All right, this should be done. Oh, it's nice and browned. You can see that it has kind of pulled off the sides a little bit, and if you
looks beautiful.
if you touch it, it is quite firm at this point.
Good.
It's not jiggly. That's what you want to make sure of. You don't want it looking wet at the top. Lovely. So now you can't cut this up yet. This has to completely cool. I would say at least an hour to completely cool.
Yeah,
before you start to try and cut it into bars or squares. Now you could do longer rectangles, or you can do them in just squares. So I guess you'll see us in just a little while when it cools off. I can't wait to try these.
Me too. They're going to be good. They smell so good. Oh, the spices in there are just...
And the house smells amazing.
I know. It's like we've had a special potpourri going.
Oh yeah, it's so nice. Well, we're ready for a snack. It's time. I can't wait to try these. So go ahead and go where the scores were that you already put in here and cut all the way through to the bottom, okay? With authority. This is nice and cool, so it shouldn't be any kind of problem. I'm cutting 16 out of this 8x8, but if you wanted to do them smaller or you wanted to do them bigger or a different shape, hey, have at her. I love little squares at Christmas.
And with the oats on top, they're so pretty.
And you could actually ice them with icing sugar on the top,
or just drizzle a glacé over it.
Chocolate or whatever you want, but I don't think it's necessary because I want to taste the dates.
Me too.
Let's get a plate out here. So once you get the first one out, which is probably going to be the hardest one, just work your way through. Put it on a nice little Christmas plate. They're so pretty and they're coming out just beautiful. Look at that. Gluten-free treats. I love it.
They are delicious.
Are they? I can smell the citrus.
Oh.
Mummy. Look at this. The bottom has a lovely little layer. Sides are all nice and crispy. The top is nice and crispy. And then you've got this gorgeous, ooey, chewy date inside. Woo!
It's beautiful.
Serve these up with a little coffee and tea and adult bevies or liqueurs or whatever at the end of dinner. Beautiful. Look at that. With an array of cookies and things. That's going to be lovely.
It is beautiful.
Let's try one, Mom.
Can't wait.
Not that I didn't try a crumb already. Cheers.
Cheers, babe. Oh my goodness.
The top and the bottom are all nice and crispy. The top is really nice and crunchy. The middle part is nice and chewy and soft and delightful. The dates are just right.
Full of flavor. Oh my goodness.
They're staying together beautifully. Look at that. It's all nice and firm. Oh, that is so full of flavor. Wow.
I love the lime juice in there.
And the zest really kicks it up. Now, you could definitely use other fruits. Any other dried fruit that you want to use, you can use it in the same kind of manner. Okay? So you could do apple, you could do pear, you could do fig, you could do mango or papaya or whatever the heck you want. These are awesome.
cherries or raspberries would be good in there too.
Wonderful. But use dried fruit, not fresh.
A triumph, my dear.
Absolutely. Well, the triumph is tiger nuts. And they're gluten-free. Look at that. Nut-free and everything. Now, of course, you could add nuts to this if you wanted to, but we're nut-free. You wouldn't even know that that's tiger nut flour. You wouldn't know that that wasn't all-purpose flour.
No.
You're not sacrificing on anything. In fact, I think it enhances the flavor, in fact. And that's how you do it. That's how you bake gluten-free tiger nut date squares. That's pretty easy.
You've got to try this recipe. It's outstanding.
Delightful. The kids are going to love them too. I like them. So check out tigernutsusa.com online for this awesome flour and all of their awesome tiger nuts products. You're going to love it.
Beautiful.
Follow me on Twitter at Cooking with Kim E with a capital E. Like the fan page at facebook.com/cookingwithkimberly. My shows are on iFood TV at my.fossum.tv/cookingwithkimberly. You can find my shows on youtube.com/cookingwithkimberly. You can find my channel on Roku, Cooking with Kimberly. And I'm also syndicated on Apple TV and Amazon and a few other spots. Come to my website at cookingwithkimberly.com and subscribe. Interact with us and let us know what's going on in your culinary world. That's it. Be a champion in your kitchen and eat deliciously. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.